men have difficulty multitasking, right? So when they have tunnel vision, even when it comes to career or a dream, right? That sometimes they don't know how to balance between working towards their dream, but also making sure they take care of the needs of the family, right? So it's like all in the oh, this dream, this dream, this dream, and they're pouring time, energy, effort into the dream while on the back end neglecting the other things that the women in the relationship are needing, right? So if as a woman it's like, okay, we'll help you support your dream, but if you're pouring everything into that, I'm not getting poured into. Not only am I not getting poured into, I'm also pouring into you while you're working towards this dream and my needs aren't being met. And then doing that for 15 years, no, y'all said 20 years. After 20 years, it does come to a breaking point, even if he makes it. In that time, in that space, in that moment, she reached her breaking point because while he was pouring into their dream for 20 years, she was not getting poured back into in them 20 years.
No,
right?
I think it
So
was
I
her
think
attitude.
that's the thing. A lot of times women are looking for men. We're not saying don't go after your dreams. Go ahead, go after it. But if you have responsibility of a family, you have to make sure that you are pouring into them as well. So even if you're going to your dreams, you may have to work at 25% of the time. But then you're working and you're hustling on the back end to take care of your family 75% of the time. So I think that's the part, like knowing how to find that balance, work towards your dream, but also taking care of primary responsibility instead of putting all of that on your significant other while you just get to focus on that one thing.
Yes,
I
yeah,
felt like it
no,
was more of
I
a
agree with
Yeah,
that.
that's why I made the statement of a lot of women are just not built for certain things, man. They're just not built for it. Like a man will suffer through some shit and put himself on a back burner and still power on, even though she's not pouring into a man, her husband, he'll still continue to power on and take care of the family, make sure they do what they do. But a woman, she has a time limit. She has a time limit. And that's why I was saying last week, yeah, a lot of ladies not built for marriage. You know, they love the idea. But when it comes to the better or the worst part, they don't want that. They want better for better. They don't want to deal with the worst. Once the worst come around, they ready to throw the white flag in and throw the towel in and ready to, get up through. They're not willing to work at it like a man is. So we as men, we understand that we're gonna have to do a little extra, a little harder because we know certain things are gonna happen. Now, I know y'all ladies was talking earlier in the show, talking about provider man. Y'all realize a provider man is not gonna be home working a 9-to-5 guy. The guy that y'all want to provide for you financially, he may be working 6 to 7 days a week, especially if he's an entrepreneur. You might not hardly see him. He's working 14 to 15-hour days to try to provide to you so you can continue to be that stay-at-home trophy wife that you want to be. But I need for you to take care of the kids and be okay with just doing that. I don't know if a lot of ladies really willing to accept that. Not the ladies of 2024, because it sounds like y'all ladies want the treatment of the ladies from the 60s, but y'all act like the woman of 24, the modern woman, and don't want to do what some of the ladies of the 60s was willing to do.
What's the definition of the ladies of the 60s? I gotta get this definition before I take this in.
Well, man, being that you don't like to take nothing in, but I understand what you're saying.
I sure don't. So, that's why I need to take it in. I need to understand what you're saying because I'm not taking that in. It sounds like a little bullshit. But go ahead.
I got you. I'm about to explain it to you.
The way I just hollered.
Yeah. And that was a little disrespectful, but I'm going to let that go. But go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on now. If you consider that disrespectful, I apologize to you, man. Right
Don't
on.
apologize because I said so. Apologize because you feel it's disrespectful. But go ahead and tell me.
No, I'm trying to get up there because certain individuals call me mean, so I'm trying to let that mean
it's all good.
go.
No, I want to understand your definition.
The women of the 60s
want to be treated like the 60s, but they have the mind of a 2024.
Yes, ma'am. So the woman of the 60s was back then, they was willing to be content on being homemakers. You understand what I'm saying? They was content on staying at home, taking care of the family, making sure the kids are well taken care of. They didn't have this these dreams and ambitions of going out there and making their own money and doing their own thing. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about when I say the woman of the 60s.
That don't sound like the woman of the 60s. That sounds like someone who don't want anything in life. That's what that sounds like to me. I don't know how the women feel about it. That don't sound like a woman of 60. That don't sound like my grandmother, my aunties, my mother. That doesn't. It just doesn't sound like it. I thought you was gonna bring me something else.
Y'all look at it like this. They don't want nothing in life, but in their life, raising their kids, taking care of their family, making sure their husbands are good, that was their life. That's what I'm talking about, women of the 60s. They was good with that. They was content with that. The women of 2024, they would never think about staying at home and just being a homemaker. I remember Harrison Buckner got criticized for saying the best thing his wife ever done was being a homemaker and raising their kids. He got vilified for that shit. Because why? He said that's what my mom used to do back in her time and her grandmother used to do back in their time. They not about that no more. So that's why I said it's a woman of the 60s.
I think that it depends on the woman.
Women know better, they do better, and that's kind of what you're seeing in 2024. When they know better, they do better. So that they know better, they're going to want more. They still want their kids to thrive in life. They still want to be homemakers, but they are stepping into another lane, which a lot of people are not comfortable with. They're stepping into another lane to where they're becoming CEOs, where they're being the bosses. That's what you're seeing. I thought you was gonna say that they have more on their plate that make them different, not the 60s, 2024. What makes the women different now is they want more. That's it.
Okay. So, ma'am,
if I can interject,
you're not acknowledging that you want to be, you really taking care of your kids. If you're out here trying to be a boss chick, if you're out here trying to be a
woman can be a boss chick and make sure her kids good.
Hell no.
And that's what I was just about to say. Like, let me just add one thing real quick. I think it's two things you want to consider. You want to consider what the woman wants, right? You made a statement about women are not like the women in the 60s anymore. Well, even my grandmother, she had 7 kids, but she worked. It even got to a point where her husbands, like the man she was with, they all eventually passed away. You know, men died. Some men died early back then. One from
left and went out south and left the whole damn family.
Right, different situations. My grandmother had hired a nanny back in the day. She worked. She was a working class woman. I work. I have 3 children. I hold it down. I make good money. I'm also an entrepreneur on top of working, and I'm still at my kids' games and doing all sorts of things. So I think it's about that harmony. Miss Taken kind of mentioned it earlier. Men kind of have that tunnel vision, one track mind, and they think it's either all or nothing. And that's not how it is. It's about finding that harmony, that balance, that flow, where a woman can do what makes her happy. It's important to pour into yourself to create your own happiness so that you can pour into other people. You can't pour from an empty cup. A woman should not just fully dedicate herself to just raising children and children alone. You have to find your happy place too. And I'm a huge advocate for that. And I think oftentimes that rhetoric causes women to lose themselves. And then that eventually will affect your marriage and everything else. Like, that's just an outdated, toxic mindset.
Well, Britt,
so Billy, did you hear what Brittany just sit there and express herself? That's why I say they are not like the mindset. They are not moving like the women of the 60s, because they will be okay with just, y'all make it sound like being just a housewife is a bad thing.
It's nothing wrong if that's what that woman wants, but everybody's different.
It sounds like, I understand. But it's you making it sound like it's depressing, like it's the worst thing ever.
You definitely have to make time for yourself. Pouring into anything 100% of the time is not a good thing.
My grandmother was born in 1946. And when I tell her y'all talk like this on this podcast, she asked me, how old are y'all? And that's old. My grandma said she wanted to work because she wanted to work. She liked what she did. She genuinely liked what she did, just like the nurse next door. She loved helping people. She loved being there, helping the doctors. She loved her patients. She loved being around them. She liked giving back and pouring into them. They took a lot of women books out the Bible, but sometimes God have ordained women with a purpose too. You go what I'm saying? There's a lot of women out here who needs help, who needs guidance in order to fix our communities. And sometimes we have that mission too. So y'all have to remember, like, it's not all about just being independent and singling y'all out. And I think that's what y'all think when y'all see women who are successful. And it's not that. It's just sometimes we like helping people. And sometimes depending on where you're the stage you're successful in, like managers, they have groups of people under them that they help. Just like people who, CEOs, they're doing it to help people. And like I said, God give women purpose too.